안녕하세요. 해적방송의 박수선입니다. 오늘 해적방송은 조금 특별한 게스트 분들과 함께하는데요. 바로 푸나틱의 레클레스 소아즈 선수입니다. Welcome back, guys. This is Jisun with Papa, and we're about to have a short interview before going into Game 2 with Reckless and Soas from Fnatic. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. All right, so let's open it up. Can you guys introduce yourselves to the LCK fans? So we know who you are. You're from Fnatic. Your name is?
My name is Martin, but probably know me as Reckless, and I play AD carry for Team Fnatic.
And what about the other lovely gentleman here?
My name is Soas, and I'm top lane for Fnatic.
네, 안녕하세요. 푸나틱의 원거리 딜러 선수 레클레스입니다. 안녕하세요. 푸나틱의 탑 라이너 소아즈입니다.
All right, so first question, we'll talk to Reckless first. You advanced to Worlds, of course, by beating Schalke and winning the EU LCS. You're in Korea now. How are you finding Korea? I know it's not your first time in Korea.
Korea is always nice, especially the solo queue. I think it is, by no doubt, the best solo queue we have out there. But for me, moving here, the first week is always about changing the rhythm of sleep and finding good food. And so far, I've really enjoyed the Korean barbecue. I think that is something we don't have enough of in Europe. So I'm trying to get as much as I can while I'm here.
네, 지금 유럽에서 이제 롤드컵 진출을 확정시키고 한국에 계신데 어떻게 지내고 계시냐고 여쭤봤는데요. 한국은 역시나 솔로큐 환경이 너무 좋아서 잘 즐기고 있고 그것 외에도 음식이 너무 좋다. 여태까지 또 한국의 삼겹살이 너무 좋았고 계속 지내는 동안 유럽에서는 많이 먹지 못하기 때문에 더 좋은 곳들 찾아나가겠다고 말씀했습니다.
And what about you, Soas? How are you finding Korea? How many times is it for you in Korea now? Because you, of course, have been around since season 1, so you're a big veteran.
I've lost count,
It's a good
honestly, of the number of times I've been in Korea. But yeah, as Reckless said, it's always nice, like Korean solo queue, the food there. I really enjoy spicy food myself. So,
Spicy food, okay.
Yeah.
네, 아무래도 소아즈 선수는 활동하신 지 오래 되셨기 때문에 한국에서 전지훈련하신 경우도 많은 것 같아서 얼마나 있었냐고 여쭤봤더니 아무래도 세야할 것 같이 많다고 말했고요. 또 한국에서 역시 솔로큐 환경이 너무 좋고 그 외에도 음식도 정말 맛있고 또 매운 음식도 즐기기 때문에 한국에서 경험이 아주 좋다고 합니다.
All right, so next question. We'll start with you, Soas. Game 1, we just saw it, Kingzone versus Gen.G, ended up being a Gen.G victory. What are your thoughts watching in the crowd here? What did you take away from the game?
Really short answer, buy QSS and don't pick Gragas again. No,
Everyone needs a QSS, just pray. What were you thinking?
I mean AD mostly, yeah. Didn't look like Zoe really needed much in this game, but yeah, I mean it felt like a really first Gragas game. I mean first game of the series Gragas game. Probably wouldn't play it on the first game. Need to be a bit warmed up.
Sure.
Probably to
So warm-up
play it.
game, QSS from Prey,
Yeah.
and then maybe the Zoe pick needs to change.
No, Zoe was good. Zoe was good.
네, 이제 첫 경기 어떻게 보셨냐고 여쭤봤더니 아무래도 말자의 CC가 강력하기 때문에 QSS 수은 장식들을 꼭 사야 될 것 같다고 말을 했고요. 사실 조이 픽에 대해서는 그렇게 문제가 없었고 프레이 선수가 아무래도 수은 장식들을 올렸어야 하지 않나 이런 반응이 있었습니다.
And what about you, Reckless? Any short thoughts about game number 1 or maybe this series altogether?
So I was actually surprised that Kingstone lost this game because I felt like the Urgot versus Aatrox top matchup was in their wheelhouse, and playing towards top side should be a situation where they're better off. But since Gen.G won this game, I feel like they're just going to sweep the entire series.
It's like
and,
a 3-0?
Maybe, actually, yeah. I wouldn't
Wow.
be too surprised after game 1. And also I want to pay my respects to Ruler for his Tristana. I think he played well, even though he had a moment in the mid-game where he
If
jumped
anyone
in.
knows Tristana, it is you.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go TP and press attack myself, but I think he had the right idea with the pick, and I think it's a good matchup into the Kai'Sa as well.
네, 이제 1경기에 대한 소감 전반적인 이야기는 사실 젠지가 1세트 이겨서 정말 놀랐고 아트록스 우르고 탑 구도가 생각보다 자기가 예상한 것과 다르게 나와서 좀 놀라웠다고 하고요. 젠지가 1세트를 딴 만큼 아무래도 전체적으로 좀 이길 것 같다. 특히 3대 0이 나올 수도 있을 것 같다라고 말했습니다.
All right, so we'll stick with you, Reckless. Of course, very famous that last year you did your AD tier rankings where Uzi came on top. Would you stick with that first? Still number 1, Uzi?
Definitely, yeah. I think he is by far the best AD carry.
All right, well, let's zoom it in. Of course, we have LCK viewers here. Let's think about the gauntlet, or just some of the teams around Korea. We got KT, FLICKR, Kingzone, Gen.G. A lot of names here. Just among those teams, who would you pick as the best AD carry among KT, so Deft, FLICKR have 2, of course, Kingzone, Prey, and Gen.G Ruler?
So normally I would probably say Prey, but I feel like lately he hasn't been that great, which can also probably speak to their team not doing so well. But even with him playing better, I think Deft would still be one of my prime candidates right now. I think he stepped it up big time here in the summer split, and he's one of the main reasons as to why KT made it to the finals and then won the whole thing as well. But other than those two, I would probably say Ruler has always been solid, and I respect him a lot for being so young and still succeeding so much.
네, 이제 아무래도 작년 인터뷰에서 원거리 딜러 순위를 매긴 적이 있잖아요. 그때 1위가 우지 선수로 뽑혔는데 아직도 그렇게 생각하시냐 여쭤봤더니 여전히 우지 선수가 정말 큰 격차로 잘하고 있는 것 같다고 하셨고요. 한국에 있는 팀들에서 얘기하자면 데프트 선수가 잘하고 있는 것 같고 그 외에도 룰러 선수가 정말 어린데도 좋은 커리어와 함께 잘 활약하고 있기 때문에 룰러 선수 역시 잘하는 원딜러라고 생각한다고 말했습니다.
All right, so final question. We'll give it to you, king of the top lane, Soas. Let's think about the same question then. So we got tier list for AD carry that's been revisited. Have never heard your tier list for top laners. Who's the strongest top laner in the world? And then let's drill it down to Korea.
I mean, I think Let Me is the best tank player,
Okay.
besides me, of course.
Best top laner and best tank player.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be a good tank player to be a best top laner.
Takes one to know one, right?
But besides Let Me, I mean, I think individually Khan have been always really outstanding in terms of top lane performance. There's also the fact that they tend to play a lot towards top lane, but I feel like he plays well on the two. So I think Khan is pretty good individually. Else, I'll put Let Me up there, of course.
네, 이제 탑 라이너의 순위에 대해서 물어보자면 렛미 선수가 자기를 제외하면 정말 잘하는 것 같다. 탱크 챔피언도 정말 잘 플레이한다고 말을 했고요. 한국으로 넘어오자면 아무래도 칸 선수가 평소에 특출난 경기력을 보여줬기 때문에 칸 선수가 가장 잘한다고 생각한다고 말씀하셨습니다.
Well, you guys beat the rush to make it to Korea. Of course, many other pro teams will be out here soon. So thank you very much for the interview. And I think Ji-sun, we should send it back.
So thank you guys. It was Soas and Reckless from Fnatic, and Game 2 is about to get started, so don't go anywhere. 여기까지가 푸나틱의 소아즈, 레클레스 선수와의 해적 방송이었습니다. 감사합니다. 안녕.
Welcome back, guys. I'm here alone on the desk. You got 15 seconds of the Valdez solo cast, but we're here with some highlights from the game. As you guys who did watch, it was pretty much a one-sided victory to the side of Gen.G. For me, it was most interesting to hear that Soas actually didn't mention Smeb or even QV up in the top side. Those would have been two other picks for me, but I guess Khan. Who's that?
I'm back.
He's back, Papa Smithy. We got to see your full body on camera for the first
People now
time in a
know
long time.
that we don't necessarily wear dress clothes, fully clothed, but we do wear jeans. So there's that.
Yeah, I was just surprised that you had legs. I wasn't sure about that, as a lot of other viewers at home now can rest safely knowing that he does have legs.
Keep your eyes above the table, Valdez.
I will. From now on, I don't want to see what's down there anymore, Papa. But yeah, what did you think about the? Everybody saw the highlights; they know what happened in the game. But what did you think about the answers that Reckless and Soas had to give?
A lot of RNG praise there, right? Let Me, of course, a tank top laner for a tank top laner, but Uzi, no surprise, the best AD carry in the world. I think Khan being called above Smeb and Keen is an interesting choice.
Yeah, I said the same thing.
At the end of the day, Soas likes what he likes, and I'm sure Gen.G fans will like what they saw in game number 1. Ended up being a crushing defeat. It was right there, though. Didn't it feel like this game was 50-50 and a Flash Malzahar ult later? Man, that's actually a lot of series. You could talk about that with Crown, but this one most recently, suddenly, it's Gen.G in the driver's seat, and I think if I asked you what the win rate would be if Gen.G took game 2, I think most people are going to think 80, 90+% for the series.
Yeah. The sign before this one said, after I graduate, I'm going to get married to Peanut. Well, I would reconsider that after game number 1, maybe look elsewhere into the jungle, as Haru looking pretty spicy that time in the matchup up against Peanut. And guys, no player changes, no changes at all, really, as we do go into game number 2. Gen.G going to pick blue side and stick with that side.
Well, Gen.G, they've been known for small champion pools and single strategies. Now, they just like comfort. Let's stay where we are. No moves for them. What about in the bans, though? Because we liked Kingzone's bans. They sub out Alessandra. They replace it with Malzahar. I just feel there's always another CC bot in the mid lane for Crown to return to.
There's always going to be something left over. I was actually surprised that they went as far as banning Malzahar here, but I suppose after that game and the reluctancy to actually buy a QSS from anybody on the side of Kingzone, can't really blame them. Also going to finally take away Alistair from Core GG.
Definitely also a choice of changing a lot of stuff, right? If you think of Griffin and their insistence on sticking with the same bans, that's 2 bans changing. I like that they're still banning the Camille. We already talked about how it's a very big flex pick for Gen.G. But right now, it feels like the Urgot blocker is Sion if you want a tank, and Aatrox if you're happy enough with a carry. So Aatrox first pick, but the Lovers bot lane aren't separated, and it's going to be Kingzone DragonX taking them away. You seem a bit surprised, but do consider if there was Aatrox and the Lovers bot lane put together on the side of Gen.G, that'd be pretty scary.
Yeah, you are right. I thought, you know, perhaps leaving Urgot open, you could just have Crown hop on to the Aatrox. But again, how good is he at his Aatrox? Haven't seen it yet. So you might just give that to the comfort you were mentioning up in the top side for QV. Yeah, they're just going to give Zoe to Crown here. He's 3-0 on the pick, and just more and more comfort for him.
But a mid lane assassin is what BDD's been prepping. Yasuo, Irelia, all of them would have been considered, but with the Irelia banned, the Yasuo is the takeaway. Will Yasuo be the science that takes Kingzone to the answering victory in game number 2? I've had the pleasure of watching a lot of BDD on Yasuo in solo queue. He's been relentlessly aggressive, but it definitely hasn't been as clean as you might want. Again, it's solo queue. Maybe he's just testing his limits. It's a pick that had a lot of respect. People were whispering about BDD's Yasuo to me for the better part of a couple of months, but in terms of stage performance, we remain to be convinced.
It's very true. I'm waiting on seeing what Peanut wants to play this time around. Still has so many fans for this guy. We'll see if he can turn it up after the Trundle in game 1.
And who's going to last pick? Because maybe, just maybe, you consider last picking jungle. Not often the way. Usually a Gragas will just come out. But given Gragas is banned, if you go Sejuani, you don't know what might happen. Trundle, Gragas banned away the Sejuani. Among the tier list junglers, it's left open in this particular scenario. The Gragas would have had great synergy with the Yasuo, of course. That's taken away.
Ooh.
Evelyn being hovered, but the Olaf is the dueling jungler you can consider. Let me put this out there. Ning played the Kayn yesterday, and Kayn can go into Olaf, and Kayn is one of Haru's most career played.
It's very true. Always got to think about that in your back pocket. Just want to see what he decides to go for. They're going to save the counter pick for the mid or the top lane here for the side of Kingzone. So it is going to be into that Aatrox, of course, but the Shen is going to be picked up, most likely into the bottom lane for Core JJ. What will we have hopping into the jungle here for Gen.G, though?
Outside chance it'll be a jungle Aatrox, but it's not going to be. It's going to be the skill matchup here. The Lee Sin is, of course, the safer choice than that Kayn, and we see Haru's Lee Sin. Who's hunting who? Because this matchup tends to go big for one side, and the other side goes home.
These guys have been watching some LPL. They say, hey, that Lee Sin pick is actually higher tier over there. There must be something to that. In an aggressive meta, it makes sense. We'll see if Haru can turn up the heat here with a pick like Lee Sin.
Now, top lane required from Kingzone. If they lock in the Urgot, they have no magic damage at all. Really nothing on their side when it comes to magic damage. So this is a very strong mid-game comp that can snowball. You look at the side of Gen.G. In terms of true tanks, they only have the Shen, and it's a support Shen. So it's not going to be the most tankiness. But Kingzone are looking to play around Olaf and get him priority. Lover's bot lane, you'll take in priority. The Urgot and the Aatrox seems about 50-50, and Yasuo can definitely do some dirty things level 3 onwards in mid. To me, this is all going to be about tempo jungling. We had maybe the best tempo jungling series of all time in the grand final of the LCK with Tarzan and Score rocking out that day. I want to see Peanut and Haru, the more aggressive orientation of junglers in Korea, play around their lane pressure, because whenever there's the spot, Lee Sin and Olaf will go hunting.
They're going to go hunting, and I hope that we get some action early on in the game. Should be a very intense game number 2, and as you were mentioning, Kingzone, I think they need to win this one if they want to keep their feet underneath them. Otherwise, Gen.G might just straight up sweep them. We'll see what does happen in here. Worried about Crown into the Yasuo. I think they banned out Yasuo Irelia multiple times up against Griffin, up against Chovy, makes sense, but this time, the Yasuo makes it through. They choose to ban out some other things, but can Crown actually do it up against the Yasuo? It's going to be very important for this game.
Last pick, Urgot, too. How the Urgot has fallen, maybe just for the minute. New stuff on the side of Gen.G. Kingzone DragonX. The Yasuo's the one to keep your eyes on.
That it is, BDD. He wants to be the carry for his team. We'll see if he can do it here. Jumping into game number 2. The countdown has started. Let's do it.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
The Gen.G chant getting slightly louder and louder every time they win a game and win a series. We got the purple Aatrox back here, Papa. I know you liked that from the last series.
Cuvée trying to make me a biased caster. I will admit my bias. I'm biased towards that chroma. Looks awesome. Cool to see. I don't know why we faded to black. There's no Nocturne in this game.
That was a real Monkus moment. I have no idea what that was.
I think it was a bad angle, and then it actually went into terrain.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. Well, we're peering over the terrain again and checking out the junglers. Here's Haru walking up. He actually clears out the little Poro that was spotting there, the Ghost Poro. Will there be a late invade? Hasn't really been the meta in Korea in these regionals, but we're going to see just a scouting invade by Khan. This is usually a sign of a creative 3 buff. They've got Olaf. He's starting Raptors. Once again, let's watch that path. Last time I remember Peanut doing this path, he showed up for a very early gank bot lane. But for now, going to be 2 buffs on the top side for Kingzone, and you won't necessarily expect it because there was no leash coming through. The Urgot was spotting as if it was a blue start from Peanut.
Yeah, definitely an interesting start to this one. You can tell that Haru was looking to get aggressive up in the top side and clear out some vision. Will he stay up here or go straight to the red? Interested to see.
So let's talk about what Khan did. That invade, the late invade there, really obfuscates the path from Peanut, and we know that Olaf wants to power jungle on low health. Now there's really no information to Haru about what path Olaf is taking. His first thought is blue side to top side. So we're not going to see an invade from Haru anyway, but it was largely about getting Peanut to 650 gold, to getting his boots, and then having a keystone with the Predator, rather than getting invaded with no keystone against a Lee Sin. So that's very much just some assistance for the jungler to get him started.
Yeah, definitely a nice little start for Peanut. No looking at any of the Scuttle Crabs here for the side of Haru, who actually just went entire top side clear into red buff. And they do have a ward on that Scuttle Crab. So Kingzone do know that the Lee Sin should be down towards the bottom side of the map. Looking for a play into the mid lane here is Haru. We'll see how close he can get. There's that red buff. He has to flash the trouble bubble. Otherwise, he's pretty much dead meat. So already able to get the flash here is Haru.
Nice play. Very low kill pressure, but of course, very, very likely to blow the flash. And now BDD can't go for the same aggressive surfs because he doesn't have the flash out available. Gonna have to be more defensive. Rinse and repeat, right? Saw this in game number 1, different matchup. We're seeing it in game number 2. Any little assistance you can give Crown is gonna be so big at getting the lane going, and Crown and Haru were the best buddies when Samsung Galaxy was really rampaging through the regular season, kind of the only time they ever have, spring 2017.
Oh, he got the big
Yeah!
crug. Cuvée going alpha mode into the enemy jungle is able to steal away a hefty amount of golden experience off of that camp.
Means that Ruler and Core JJ can do whatever they want because they know there has to be a full reset, boots, and second jungle item, Talisman, picked up from Peanut. Not going to interrupt him, already had the 650 gold, as we can see.
definitely just an annoying thing there for Peanut. Is going to get priority on the map here after getting those boots and going back to buy. The Lee Sin Haru should go back after his Crux, so a little bit more opportunity to be active for Peanut, who was heading down towards the bottom side.
JJ and Ruler walk up. Do note that the CS is very even between the two duo lanes. If you are Varus, you are going to win basically every 80 carry versus 80 carry duel, but there's such an advantage having Rakan over Shen that you would expect there to be at least a tempo lead for Kingzone in the 2v2. We're not seeing that. But with the tempo right now, with the ability to walk up to the lane, Olaf going for a very early Drake take at 5 minutes into the game.
He is going to get away with it, too. There's one ward in the Pixel Brush for Gen.G, but Lee Sin goes top jungle. Gorilla comes on over. Easy smite, and that's an Infernal here to start off game number 2.
If you're wondering as to the why, it's because that's the Olaf gank timing with Predator. So the bot lane of Gen.G's hanging back, worried about the gank. We see Oceans attempted by an Olaf around that time. He goes for the Infernal, is able to pick it up anyway. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, as Gen.G's duo lane, if you don't have your jungler there to help spot.
At the end of the day, it does look like just the Raptors will be taken away and Haru on an aggressive path to the top lane, but already some pings being thrown out, as it seems like Khan has a good read on exactly where this Lee Sin should be going.
Has one corrupting potion stack as well. He has his E and flash, not very reliable. Take him down, so Haru, after that great mid lane gank, is going to be on a ward. So suddenly his positioning is pretty predictable, and we already talked about how this is feast or famine jungle matchup. See what Peanut can do now that he has even more information about the enemy, as the blue ping comes out to spot Lee Sin, Olaf, I should say, on the bot side.
Saw this early game with that play in the mid lane. Actually, Crown is getting pretty far ahead of BDD now, who has had to play pretty passively after the way this early game did go. You got Gorilla and Peanut, though, now heading towards the mid lane, looking to push this one into Crown.
I think Peanut really needs to stay ahead of the curve. Talked about it in Champ Select. No magic damage on the side of Kingzone. Means the build pass eventually. Well, you do lack that same oomph when you only have to look at one type of combat stat to itemize into. So far, so good when it comes to that presence on the map. But really, the timer is against Kingzone. Not in a massive way, because it's not huge tank frontline Ornn and Sejuani kind of game. But still, the pace is on, and Kingzone trying to steal away the blue buff. They did spot Haru here earlier.
They spotted Haru. They know that Crown has to go back as well. It's a pretty easy play. They have the timer on the buff as well. And take a look at that purchase from Crown. Goes for Ninja Tabi immediately, plus the Dark Seal and 2 control wards as well.
Well, he knows his role. That's the thing about Crown. He knows his role. Merc Treads Rush, very common for and against Zoe. Ninja Tabi, control wards. Don't die. Do not be solo killed. Do not allow BDD to hit the side lane with an early 2 items and warp the game. Side lane options, unless the Aatrox can actually duel the Yasuo, are limited. Gen.G want to hit 1 item onto Crown. That 1 item's not Ninja Tabi, by the way. It's Luden's Echo.
Yeah.
And 1 or 2 items onto Ruler and start sieging. They have very strong siege with Zoe and Varus. And anything to interrupt that, anything to work against those timings and allow BDD to hit the side lane is not something they can allow.
Taking a little look down here in the bottom lane, there hasn't been much action, even though the Shen could make some plays with the flash, especially level 6 Lee Sin. I think now that he has his red buff, he might be looking to get aggressive here. Will be spotted, though, on a control ward already. Peanut is nearby, but Haru, let's see if he can invade, actually, into the blue buff area.
He really wants to take bot side control, because the one thing that's actually worked against Gen.G has been RNG, actually, because it's Infernal into Infernal spawn. Haru is here. The control wards are down. Olaf is doing no counter ganking. Can we see Haru pull off some sick, clean Lee Sin? Or will he be spotted earlier? Gorilla has not put down a ward.
You can tell he's thinking about it, at least playing passively for now, as they seem to have an idea of what's going on. But you got Olaf right over the wall. I think he did use his Q, which was spotted out by Olaf, so nothing doing down in the bottom side. They still have 3 control wards down there trying to make something work, but so far the Lee Sin has been had to be passive after that first gank in the mid lane. Nothing much else doing.
Normally we don't complain about Drake RNG, but when you go all AD and it could potentially be 3 Infernals in a row, that's one of the few ways you can actually be undone. Speaking of being undone.
Uh-oh, Khan trying to solo this, and it's the 3-on-1 right now. You see BDD is not even coming into the river. He knows he's dead. That's going to be easy first blood given over to the Aatrox on the top side.
He had some vision down, but he felt like he was in position to walk down the river. We can see Olaf was bot side. The Yasuo, like you mentioned, couldn't walk over. Seems like just a walk in the park, but we called the first mistake, being in Flash Malzahar range and unforced error. Let's keep with that tennis terminology. That feels like an unforced error as well, coming through from Khan.
And it does. You know, you're having a slow game up in the top side. You see that juicy scuttle crab. You say, hey, I might as well take this. You know, I should be okay. But Lee Sin on the ward, and he continues to go for it. Aatrox from the top side doesn't even get the scuttle crab.
Strange decision from Khan. No priority in mid lane at the time. Cuvée walks down to chase, and Haru's there. Worst case scenario, certainly, but the best case scenario didn't seem worth it. BDD walking up, but the Ninja Tabi, the Summoner's up. No interest in dying from Crown, and he's actually kept up a little bit of a CS lead at the same time.
He's doing really well relatively here. He even has the 1 stack onto the Dark Seal already. Both solo laners for the side of Gen.G seemingly very comfortable in their lanes, especially after the kill now going over to the Aatrox. Cuvée gonna even have more fun up in that top side. We saw what he can do when he gets fed on this pick. I wouldn't expect any less, but here we go. Another Infernal Drake coming down. Gen.G probably not gonna give this one up for free.
No double freebies, you'd think, but right now, is there a ward to go? And okay, it's a pretty shallow ward. Peanut's giving it up, not trying to burst it down.
Haru goes in, though. It looks like, okay, nice double knock up there. Missed engage onto Ruler, who just Chains of Corruptions him in the face. Gorilla going to be extremely low, but Crown now out of position, has to flash away from this one. Haru eating all the damage from that one. Looking for the kill onto Gorilla. Here is Crown. The shield coming on in. He will be able to take it out. And now the engage, and there's the Aatrox. 2-man knock up into the backside, and Haru able to pick up another kill too. And it looks like Peanut as well is going to be on the run. This is a total rout now by the side of Gen.G. Defenders come in to save 2 members' life, but 2 kills as well as the Infernal Drake should go to the side of Gen.G.
Just feels like a metaphor as CoreJJ actually takes down the Olaf. But everything is falling just short for the side of Kingzone. Gorilla invests his flash, doesn't even get a flash from Ruler. Just gets the Chains of Corruption in his face. And where everything falls short for Kingzone, everything's on fire for Gen.G.
Oh, they look so good tonight here. I was worried for Crown and that he got caught, but that was not the case. Cuvée carrying this really hard.
Ruler's on a ward, and look at that AoE. It's just at the feet of Ruler. When the World Championship was up for grabs at the feet of Ruler, he won the game by the flash engage onto FLICKR in Game 3. In this particular game, the moment that Gorilla doesn't get the engage, he's out of the fight. He gets assassinated. Cuvée is a huge frontliner at this point in the game, and they just roll through and even get that last-second kill onto the Olaf. We missed this. How did he even get there? He's not in vision. CoreJJ just says, what if he's there? And he is. Yeah. Taunt flash, baby. An executioner play by Shen.
Yeah, and Peanut, he has to know. I mean, there was a ward to spot Shen going into the jungle, but he just took the risk anyway, thought there's no way he could die to the Shen, but surprisingly, that does happen from time to time from the Shen, and even though Xayah did a ton of damage on the retreat, it was just a disengage. There was no kill pressure. She was just doing it to get away from everybody. And now the game is falling heavily to the side of Gen.G.
Now the double to triple Infernal. That win condition is gone. It's 1-1 on Infernals. The scaling, we already know about the single damage type. It's not impossible for Kingzone. You can hit the ground running at 2 items, out teamfight twice, and maybe it never gets to the point where it's relevant. But we got 5 Ninja Tabis in a dream already from Gen.G. And how about Shelly also to put some pressure on BDD?
It's going to be extremely early. Peanut trying to get on top of the Lee Sin here, actually chasing pretty far, and it looks like the knockup comes in, and down will go the Lee Sin, but Cube is so strong right now. He just dunks him in the face, and also Gorilla going to go down to the Lee Sin. Cube still on the chase here. Nowhere for BDD to run or hide. A double kill now to the Aatrox.
Every single Q from this Aatrox, a dagger into the heart of Kingzone DragonX World's Hope. Cuve's gauntlet buff has been so amazing. He's had another just indifferent regular season, but when Worlds is on the line, you know he's going to be there and looking strong.
The Gen.G we all know and love. They won 2 gauntlets in a row. They're looking to win a 3rd one now. We're only halfway through, just the beginning here even of game number 2 in the series, but it already feels that way.
So let's see how this starts. Haru's just putting down Vision. He gets started on by Olaf. He wins that trade. Let's watch it from here. Rakan goes in, gets their man, but watch on the backside. Rakan was like, thank you very much. I'm going to go kill that person. However, Prey's left all alone. He was walking up down the river, and he's in melee range of an Aatrox. You got to think about both sides. You can't just think about killing someone. Your AD carry is nuked to the Nether Realm in 0 seconds.
Definitely felt like an odd decision. I feel like they didn't have all the vision to make a calculated, knowledgeable play there. As you mentioned, they saw someone and they said, let's try to kill that person, but it looked a little bit wonky. Kingzone so far not impressing here in this best of 5. And Haru on the Lee Sin has been, even though he did kind of get crushed in that last fight. He's still putting up the pressure on that play.
Kingzone DragonX, so desperate to get away from the mantra. Everyone knows the name for them now, Valdez. It has some variants, but it's chokers. That's the only word you could use. And the term I think of when I see a performance like this, where the game is there to be won, and it's not just Prey making mistakes. We saw that big mistake from Khan as well. The adage we talk about in Australian sports is downhill skier, which means when the game is a very easy one against a bottom team, they're looking fantastic. When it's a hard one, they need to make plays and they're not working.
Chain of Corruption again, but Ruler has a stopwatch on the backside, but this is a lot of damage. 4 on 3 right now. Haru gonna get extremely low. He will be able to get out, but nice conversion there by Kingzone.
Need a moment like that. A small moment, but maybe an important one. Crown trying to poke away the minion wave. Got there second and wasn't able to make anything happen. Try to take this turret, try to find something. Kingzone need to reset and get some gold into themselves, but has the damage already been done? The 5 Ninja Tabis were noted before. The 5,000 gold lead is very conspicuous at the top of the screen, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And this time the engage actually works out for Kingzone.
No flash here for Ruler, but he does it again to the Rakan. He is just playing with him right now. It was a 4 on 3. There was no way he was going to survive, but man, that's definitely going to get into the back of the minds here of Gorilla twice in a row now.
He's been really on point with the Chains of Corruption. Very, very impressed by that one. Gotta say, between Chains of Corruption and the W from Shen on top of Ruler, that stuffs a lot of damage coming through from the Yasuo especially. And the short-range physical damage threats. Ninja Tabi reduces auto-attack damage. The Spirit's Refuge just counters them completely.
Yeah, seemed to be a good pick. At that point, they already knew Xayah, Rakan, Yasuo, Olaf, and so they say, even if it's a top lane AP, the Shen gonna be good regardless. Just one of the support champions that were left over as well. We noted that the Alistar was banned away, as well as the Braum in the second stage, and the Morgana. We got another Drake coming in here. Crown not in the best spot. Has to use his real flash as he was a little bit too aggressive there.
They want to be a bit more slow and steady with the setups here. They got Zoe Varus, and the summoners are now down on both. There's a lot of different creative angles that Kingzone can find and engage on, and Gorilla has his flash. But if you make the wrong engage and don't get your man, you lose inhibitor at pre-20 minutes. So Kingzone need to be proactive. They're set up to be proactive with those summoners being down on Crown and Ruler. However, the downside is certainly there.
Gen.G corralling them right now. Level 13 Cube over level 10 Peanut is doing that work. Okay, Prey. Crown just says, get the hell away from here. This is our Mountain Drake, and after 2 members get chunked, not much you can do. Also pushing in the top lane here for Gen.G, so really good map movement for them right now.
I always like to talk about my meanwhile ats, but the Observer's doing it for us. Everything is stacking up for the side of Gen.G. And the moment you're saying engage or you lose your window to a team that was 5,000 gold behind, it lets you know that Kingzone are in a really desperate spot. We were already mouthing about how low their percentage would be to reverse sweep, given all the out-of-game factors that have worked against Kingzone since they went to MSI. Already this game seems so tricky for them. And we're not going to be seeing a high damage Yasuo build either. He's going Sterix, he's going for just a bit of staying power, but will the game even be there to be won by the time his third item is complete for the Yasuo?
I feel like the biggest thing they have to worry about right now is level 14 Cuvée 3-0-1. What do you do when you have, you know, a squishy support? You have the Yasuo who's not tanky. That's part of the reason why you went to Sterix. If any kind of flank comes in from the Aatrox, we're going to see a lot of members die here. Core JJ, not in the best spot, but is able to taunt his way over the wall. Should be fine.
I don't have an answer for you. That is a proposition that sounds really scary because, like you say, they're just not set up to deal with something like this big an edge. He has Death's Dance already. My God, Ninja Tabi, Death's Dance, a bit of health from the Black Cleaver.
He won't die.
He leeches a whole hell of a lot from his Q, especially as well in a team fight. So, yeah, you just lose. So maybe fight where he's not.
We'll see how that works for them. We got teleport right now on Cuvée, so if any fight breaks out, I guarantee he's going to be there. Right now, he's actually just running at the enemies, as nobody can quite get close to his level. He's 2 levels over anybody on the side of Kingzone, only BDD and Khan at level 12 right now.
Problems of their own creation. They only have Rakan for the setup reliably. Also, Khan is going to be able to set up the last breath, but Rakan is certainly the one who you want for that. Haru just takes Lee Syndrome Q. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's going in.
Oh, baby!
Okay, that's an interesting play. VDD gonna get extremely low on the backside, and he does go down. Cuvée just zoning out Khan, and here he is into the back line. The flash taunt on top of Prey. He is able to get out of that one, but not anymore, as the trouble bubble and the giant monster ran at him and got the kill. Gen.G so far ahead. Let's see what they do from here.
Haru's Lee Sin IQ doubled in a second. He went from 100 IQ Lee Sin to 200 IQ with jumping over to get the Yasuo into the mid.
Yeah.
They take Yasuo down. They're on the Baron. Haru himself, though, pretty low on health.
Now he's a 50 IQ Lee Sin, struggling to stay alive underneath the Baron, but he'll be there for the smite. Peanut just trying to get some vision, throwing in some axes. Haru now has some of that health, looking to burst it down. There's the flash taunt to make sure he gets it. The smite, though! Oh, no! Peanut able to get over the wall, but everybody else should be going down here. The flash on over for Khan. Just the chase coming in here. BDD and Prey coming on up, but BDD maybe a bit off a little bit too much, buddy. It's 1v5. The Yasuo not gonna survive. It's science, baby, as he goes down.
Somehow, it's been a year since the last time, and nothing has changed. We're looking at a 3-0 for Gen.G this time, after the 3-0 that surprised everyone against Longzhu Gaming for Samsung. They're running over them, and even a Baron steal from Peanut isn't going to change the 7,000 gold lead.
Not much you can do. It looks like it was smited a little bit early. I saw 100 health as Peanut got in there and got the smite down.
Well, watch this one. Haru low on health to start, of course. He gets the heal from Crown, so it means he has a bit of health. Not like it's going to be clean. The interruption comes in, but Peanut's in the pit at 1,400. Let's watch for the first smite. Yes, too early and then claimed from Peanut, who didn't smite. He actually just took it down with, I believe, his reckless swing. He takes it down. That true damage is much smaller, but ends up being enough. And then BDD, just like when he was over-eager on the Syndra against Malzahar in Game 1 of the World's quarterfinal, why is he diving in now? The fight's over, mate.
He was the only one with Baron left, too. Actually, the Xayah Prey did not come up in time to get the Baron buff, and so even though they steal it, they get the gold. There's less pushing here from Gen.G. Nobody on the side of Kingzone can use that to defend, and it's still a landslide right now going to the side of Gen.G. They're 7,000 gold ahead at 23 minutes. Definitely looking even more one-sided than game number 1.
The person who looks the most against expectation is BDD, and he needed to be their hard carry today. He's been so wonderful in the second half of the season. We're going to look over some of the Spo TV history here, looking at Cuve's involvement, and Cuve and Haru linking up in general. Haru has been outstanding in this particular game on the Lee Sin. You don't think of him as the top-tier Lee Sin player in Korea. Spirit and Peanut probably more famous on that one, but he has been great in this game. The pressure is on, and Kingzone DragonX, they got to win every team fight triumphantly, otherwise this game is just going to straight up end.
Haru showing that, hey, you can ban away my Camille. Yeah, you can take away other picks. I still have Lee Sin in my back pocket. It's just an annoyance for them because they got the Olaf. They were comfortable about taking that away from Haru after game number 1, but not really the case, as he's looking really good. And once again, the Aatrox first pick here for Cuve. Let's see if he can go 1v2, though. Doesn't look very likely. He's going to be ulted in over the wall, and not much else. Actually, we got Xayah coming in here to try to help out. He wanted to try to burst her down, but it's not going to happen. Converting on a kill, but a kill for Infernal Drake, that's going to be worth every time.
Definitely accepted his own fate. Wasn't even looking for a 1-for-1. Just tried to get away and couldn't do so. Everything connects from the side of Kingzone, but a kill for an Infernal Drake. You definitely take the Infernal, as Gen.G are the rich. They're getting richer. And unfortunately, Kingzone on welfare, and the Ninja Tabis are already a bad sign. Gotta say, though, Ninja Tabis are kind of the tax this game, like the QSS was last game. And Gen.G, they've always been about dotting their I's, crossing their T's. Don't think any of these guys are going to be caught for tax evasion anytime soon. They're looking comfortable in Kingzone. They're going to need a really big set of players this game. I don't think one is going to be enough.
Not sure who picked up the shutdown on the Aatrox, but if it was the Xayah, that would have been really nice, actually. You get a hefty chunk of gold after 4 kills onto an Aatrox, or onto anyone, really. So we'll see where that gold did go. Kind of cuts it down to 6,000 instead of 7,000, which is decent. But as we mentioned, the Infernal Drake going to be more worth in terms of stats and gold overall.
And Gen.G is setting up a makeshift frontline. Double Randuin's going to come out of Lee Sin and also the Aatrox. Takes a lot to dissuade Haru from going full damage, but if you go the Randuins, you have a slow and a kick when you get into the back line. He's already found some very smart engages in this game, so definitely not a hater on the build, and one of the ways to shut down Yasuo from getting the first kill and actually trifle with Yasuo and the Xayah without just being exploded. Sitting on a ward right now at Gen.G. They don't have full control of the red side jungle of Kingzone just yet.
Yeah, they're kind of standing on a triangle, a plethora of red wards right now. They don't seem to care, as nobody's got a sweeper available right now. Actually, only Shen has one.
Very notable, actually, to go so few sweepers. Usually this relies on just some big outplays, a really big pick from someone like Haru, because you're not bringing the enemy to you. You're saying, hey, we need to know where you are to come and kill you.
Well, the push is on here from Gen.G. They're going to get that top inner turret extremely low. Cuve was just threatening, level 16, very fearsome at this moment. Crown, though, kind of face-checking himself against 2 members, but even so, with the rest of Gen.G nearby, he is going to be safe. No collapse here from Kingzone.
Minion wave really far away for the Aatrox, so actually some time going to be needed. Warning pings put down. There's a standing gold in a turret at the top side, but more important for Cuve to bring down that minion wave and get himself most of the way towards a Randuin's on the way. Here's Haru, continuing to play around with the Olaf. Advantage Haru in the matchup. Advantage Gen.G in the first 28 minutes, the double Infernal. A lovely Cementer, and look at Ruler. He's gone on board a Guardian Angel. If we know anything about third item Guardian Angel, it's to close the door on an enemy team.
That's saying that even if you commit everything you've got, literally everything, to kill just me, even then, I'm not going to go down. It stacks the armor, too. Everybody on the side of Gen.G is building a hell of a lot of armor, and I mean, we said it before, at about 17 minutes, the game already looked over. We talked about this full 80 composition. Definitely that door is being shut. There's only a tiny little crack left open here for Kingzone. And now with the Baron about to respawn, they're going to have an even stronger team fight this time around.
You get the theory behind Kingzone's comp against Ambition, because you think about him farming and doing not much. You think, let's just beat him in the mid game and they'll never even scale up. But when Haru is playing and willing to pick Lee Sin in skill matchups very early in the game, can that door be snapped shut? You're not even feeling a cold breeze if you're Gen.G. You're saying, well, we actually outbrawled you when you were supposed to be strong in snowball, and your snowball never happened. And now you're in a scenario where that playmaking means that a couple of kills here, this game could be over. Speaking of kills.
Oh boy, they have vision onto this guy, and Gorilla just gonna have to flash away, but the Ignite is ticking down alongside the red buff. And here's the Randuin spray. Is just desperately trying to get away, but there's the flash taunt coming on in from poor JJ. He is making quick work of this King Zone team. 3 of them gonna go down instantly, and the rest of them just in the base. They're diving at this point. They don't even care about this one. Gonna be going super deep past all the turrets. They get 3 kills. Now they're looking at the Baron.
Gen.G playing like they got 8 p.m. dinner reservations. It's 6:40 p.m. by the way in Korea. Lets you know they're not looking for it to go long. They're gonna bounce over. How about a Baron 2? As Crown says, wait, I actually can't get over that wall. It's not gonna be a problem though. He's gonna patrol. The Baron is gonna go down. And it feels like King Zone DragonX are gonna follow the Baron very shortly.
This is not the matchup you wanted to see for King Zone, having to go up against Gen.G, but Gen.G living true to their name, the killers of King Zone right now. The trouble bubble as the bait onto Crown was actually a bait onto Gorilla.
Could Ruler just miss one ultimate to make us feel human, because everything is connecting this game? And then Core GG comes back. He took a bit of a sleeping break and he decides, why don't I get both the carries? Takes down Peanut, takes down Prey. Nothing doing for King Zone DragonX, and BDD may not be the first man in, but he tries his best to get out. He knows there's nothing he can do.
I love Haru going so deep behind the inhibitor too. He's having a blast, I'm sure you guys can tell. The junglers, they beg their coaches for sure. Hey, can I play Lee Sin? Can I get aggressive? Please not Sejuani again. Haru just going off on this Lee Sin, and his coach gonna think twice the next time he asks him.
This game doesn't end. Does Gen.G go perhaps the most bad manners play and have everyone go Ninja Tabi Guardian Angel? Because they're going to have 3 of them.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Zoe with Guardian Angel keeping the manners going. But speaking of manners,
Cuvée gonna just dodge this ultimate engage from Gorilla, just saying, oh, hello. And now he's going 1v5, actually. Look at Prey's health, just 1 auto. Looks like 850 damage as Prey is now pretty much out of the fight. The Baron push is in effect. As Gen.G, they're looking to close the door shut this time around.
well, the game end on this push. Ruler tanks up. He's got armor. He's fine. Haru patrolling. He has no flash, but you know he's thinking about his insect if he can pull it off.
Look at Cuvée too, just level 18 in the front line. Nobody can touch him at this point. Even Crown, he's got a fully stacked Dark Seal. If you were asking for the Guardian Angel, I'd be happy with the Magi at this point. You know, a little bit of BM, but hey, it's not so bad if you're not gonna die. But Gen.G just looking for that tutorial victory, a giant push in the top side. What can King Zone do? Doesn't look like much here as Court JJ looking for another engage, and there's the trouble bubble onto Rule, or rather Prey. He's gonna be taken around by the backside, and down you go, as Gorilla was not able to block for that one. And there you have it, Cuvée going 1v3, gonna Randuin's everybody just for the effect. Finally, Gorilla hits a grand entrance for the first time, and there you go, GG. Game 1 goes to Gen.G.
Gen.G do not often style on their opposition, but they were styling all over King Zone DragonX. They seem to be the only predators on the map. Seem like helpless sheep to King Zone. 1 by 1 do they fall, making some mistakes, not respecting vision, and by the end, just getting rolled over. Gen.G have played themselves into form, their 12th game in 3 match days spread over 6 days, but they haven't missed a trick. They do not look exhausted. King Zone DragonX seem to be wearing their emotions a lot clearer than their opponent.
It's very true. This doesn't look like the final round of the gauntlet. It looks like maybe the first round as King Zone. Definitely a bit of disappointment for everybody who's watching them. Not the best draft, not the best play out there in that game. Started off well, you know, Peanut got aggressive, he took the Infernal Drake, was looking for plays in the bottom side, but then all of a sudden, everything just fell apart and Gen.G got way too far ahead.
It's gonna have to be some of the veterans, Prey, Gorilla, picking up the troops and resetting their mental for game number 3. The reverse sweep is always a possibility. We've seen them, but I don't think the betting markets will stay open for whether we'll see it today. It doesn't feel likely, Valdez.
Well, guys, let's take a look at the results here. This is about as one-sided as it gets. Somehow, Prey was able to out-damage Ruler in the fight, but it didn't matter. Take a look at that Yasuo damage. Just BDD not able to do anything in this game at all. Couldn't even do damage in the lane.
And the scale here is actually relevant. It was 5,000 gold lead at 15 minutes against the team that needed to snowball. That 5,000 gold went into Ninja Tabis, then Guardian Angels, Randuins, and there was no way back in. 4,700 damage for the Yasuo. Definitely not enough.
Well, guys, we're going to go to a break, and after that, we'll find out if Kingzone can get the miracle reverse sweep. Stay with us.